What is up, everyone? How you all doing? In this week's chapter, I ask again, is Sukuna cooked? Find out in 2 weeks. JJK will be on a break next week, so we have to wait another couple weeks to speculate about Sukuna's downfall. This chapter begins with the domain barrier shattering due to the impact of Yuta's purple. Of course, Sukuna somehow tanked the purple.
You can't keep getting away with it!
We can kind of see his face is torn up and you can kind of see the muscles under his skin. I can only speculate that Yuta is not experienced with using purple and was not firing it at 100% output. Obviously, he wouldn't be at the same point as Gojo, but it's kind of disappointing to see we couldn't see Yuta use it to its full potential. I was also probably not giving Sukuna enough credit for how strong his defense is at this point. We think he's really weak, which he is weakened from the point where he was fighting Gojo, but he's still super strong, and I'm super impressed with how much he's been able to put up a fight still. Next page, we get one of the hardest pages in JJK history. Todo, Yuji, and Yuta Joe, whatever we're calling him at this point, are rushing Sukuna together. I love this so much, but I can't help to imagine how epic it would have been with Gojo, Yuji, and Todo. Either way, I was expecting another jumping here. Before we can get this epic jumping, Yuta drops to the ground. Kenjaku's curse technique had burned out after the domain clash. I don't think Yuta is dead here. A lot of people think he just fell over dead, but we do see his inner monologue, and he was kind of lamenting that Gojo's body doesn't have Rika attached to it, meaning his copy is not lasting infinitely. Again, I do not think Yuta's a goner here. I think potentially Wee Wee could come in and swap Yuta out and possibly return his brain to his original body, where he can have, Shoko and Rika help heal him. But this is just kind of cope, in my opinion, but I'm kind of hoping something like that happens. It then cuts to Todo, who's actively glazing Sukuna while rushing him. He says, I guess that's why they call him the King of Curses. Sukuna catches my boy sleeping at the wheel and lands a black flash straight on him. Todo luckily tanks it. He's done this before against Mahito. Todo says he's not done taking the spotlight yet. He notices that Sukuna still has parts of his barrier floating around, and he realizes he needs Boogie Woogie in order to shine and defeat Sukuna. Yuji then uses a double team, shadow clone technique. He's getting swapped at light speed by Todo, completely surrounding Sukuna. One of my favorite panels in the manga for sure. Yuji then uses Dismantle by hitting the barrier between Sukuna and Megumi. Yuji yells, wake up Fushiguro. Yuji had used a binding vow, and of course Sukuna noticed this because he's the binding vow merchant. We then get to see Yuji absolutely working Sukuna to the point where he throws up Tengen, and then he quickly eats it again. Kinda gross, but that happened. Yuji is getting better at using his shrine technique as we see more of the scissors slicing through the walls. Sukuna begins to notice that they're running out of moves, and he continues to evade the attacks and thinks if he bides his time and just keeps evading the attacks, he can finally beat them. Todo's Virus Slap had been disabled when Sukuna hit the Black Flash on him. However, he used it against his head, although there was no swap. Sukuna looks up and is absolutely shocked to see Hana floating above him, or Angel. She looks absolutely dialed in floating above him. The first time Sukuna got hit by Jacob's ladder was that first image there, and Gege redrew it to this, so it looks like he's taking less damage, but this attack still kind of wipes him. A flashback ensues with Yuta speaking with Hana. He wants her to use Jacob's ladder to separate Megumi and hit the killing blow on Sukuna. Yuta makes a great point that his copy technique is great because whoever Yuta is fighting will be hyper-focused on the abilities he has at his disposal and not the original user coming in. He figures Sukuna will not take into account that both Yuta and the original user can use the same attack. It's unfortunate that they weren't able to use Jacob's ladder at the same time because I feel like Sukuna is either going to tank it again or kind of just avoid it in general, whereas if Yuta and Hana had used this attack at the same time, it pretty much would have guaranteed to hit. At the end of the day, I feel like we're kind of stuck in the same spot we've been stuck in. Sukuna is being hit with a potential game-ending attack, much like last week's Purple or the Executioner's Sword. I can't see Sukuna directly dying to this. What I can see happening is Megumi being separated and Sukuna being reduced to a weaker form where we hopefully can see Yuji, Megumi, and probably Todo team up on Sukuna. Maybe Megumi will simply give up. But if he doesn't make it out of this fight alive, I feel like a lot of the character deaths will kind of mean nothing. And especially Gojo. Gojo was kind of like a father figure to him, and he died, and I think at the end of the day, not bringing Megumi back would kind of make all these sacrifices feel a little worthless. So I do hope he comes back, even though he's been getting hated on, understandably. But yeah, at the end of the day, the cycle kind of continues. I feel like we are nearing the end of this fight, and I've been saying that for a long time. but I don't see how Sukuna's going to be out of this stronger, if that makes any sense. You know, he's just tanking all these strong attacks, and especially if he's separated from Megami, we'll have another pretty strong fighter back on the battlefield. So at the end of the day, I don't think this is going to go on much longer, and I'm just excited to see how this ends. You know, I don't know how this story is going to end, and I hope we see something else, whether it's a Heian era flashback for Sukuna's backstory or the closure to Hikari versus Urame, which feels like it'll never end. But, you know, this fight's just been going on so long. I feel like we need some closure at this point, and I want to see what happened to a lot of other characters. But at the end of the day, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a crazy week with this chapter and the Hollow Purple chapter from last week. I'm going on vacation next week, actually, so I'm going to try to get a shorter video out, probably on Thursday, because I leave on Thursday. So let me know if you want some topic covered. I kind of don't have anything planned yet, but since we're on break, I'll think of something. But yeah, thanks again, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed the chapter, let me know, and take it easy. Bye-bye.